Welcome back to Ramba Academy, where we teach you programming skills and techniques to make you a better creator. I am your host, Tawana, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. And today we're going to be talking more about Vim. And this video is going to be split up into two parts. The first part is going to be the jump list and what are jumps. The second part is going to be the changes and the change lists. So jumps is essentially a type of motion where you move your cursor from one part of the text file to another part of the text file. But let's jump straight into our terminal to see what all this kind of means and how this all correlates together. Okay, sweet. So let's open up any file. It doesn't matter what file you have prepared for yourself. I've coded mine code.java. The first thing we're going to do is that we are going to insert colors to make this a little bit easier for us to see. So go syntax on. Sweet. So we've actually kind of looked at some jumps in the previous video. So we have looked at the H, M, and L command, which is a form of jump. So if I press H, the cursor is going to move to the top of the screen. If I press M, the cursor is going to move to the middle of the screen. If I press L, it's going to move to the very bottom line of the screen. One form of jump which you guys can do, which is very simple, is using the HJKL keys, but you're going to repeat that command multiple times. So let me show you what I mean. So an easiest way to understand what I mean is you can turn on relative line number by setting RNU. So what relative line number is that it shows you the relative line based on your cursor. So your cursor is going to be line 0. One line away is going to be line 1. 2 lines away is going to be 2 lines away. I think you guys kind of get the picture. So what is really useful about relative line number is that if I want to go to a specific line, I don't have to click to get on that line. What I can do is I can look at that line and look at the relative line number, type in that number, and then use the cursor motion to jump to that line. For example, if I want to jump to the line which says string name, I can type in 11 and then K to jump up, and then you see that my cursor jumps straight to that line name. So that's one simple type of jump. Just jumping using your basic navigation keys. And there's other types of jumps as well. So let's say that you are editing a file and you're debugging a file and then you get an error message, or you just want to jump to a specific line number. There is two ways you can do that. So one way is you can type in the number and then followed by the letter capital G. So let me turn off relative line numbers. So as you can see, now we have absolute line numbers in our file. So each line is going to be numbered as they appear from the beginning of the file. So if I want to jump to line 19, I can do that by pressing 19 and then capital G. And then my cursor is going to move straight to that line. So that's one type of jump which you guys could use. Another jump which you can use, jumping on a specific line number, is you can press colon and then type in the number which you want to jump to. So if I want to jump to line 10, where that string name is, I can go colon 10 and jump to that. It's up to your preference on which type of jump you want to do in terms of the line numbers. But I prefer to stick with the column and then type in the line number because that is a little bit more clear and distinct on what you're actually doing. Now the next type of jump which I want to talk about is to jump to the next blank line. So sometimes you just want to read code in blocks of text and see how everything's structured, or just read text in blocks of text. So what you could do is you can press the right parenthesis to jump to the next blank line, and then you can press the left parenthesis to jump to the next blank line. For example, my cursor is currently in line 10. If I press the right parenthesis, it's going to jump to line 16. So I press shift and the parenthesis, you see my cursor jumps to line 16. If I do it again, it's going to jump to line 18. If I go the other way, I'll press the left parenthesis and it's going to jump to the last blank line. And that is a type of jump, which is pretty useful if you know how to use it well. Now, another thing which I want to talk about is blocks. So Vim kind of separates your code into blocks, and you can jump based on those blocks. So before I explain what they are, I just want to show you what it is. So to go to the beginning of a block, you can use the left square bracket and the left parenthesis. So left square bracket and left parenthesis. That's going to go beginning of the block, which is there. Example, let's move my cursor down. So left square bracket and left parenthesis, and it's going to jump to this beginning of the block. If I go to the end of the block, it's going to be right square bracket and right parenthesis. And that's going to go to the end of the block. So essentially what a block is it's kind of related to the idea of scope in programming. But if you don't know what scope is, don't worry. So pretty much what you can think of a block is that it's going to be a set of parentheses, right? So whatever is going to be in a set of parentheses, that's going to be seen as a block. But this is going to be for languages such as Java, C or C++, languages which actually use parentheses to segment the code. But in other languages such as Python or even a text file, Vim will segment that text file in actual paragraphs. So a paragraph will be of like a block. The next command which I want to show you is jump into the end of a section, which is going to be 2 square brackets. I just want to show you the command first and explain what they actually do. So if I press double square bracket, it's going to go to the end of a section. This is where Vim gets a little bit finicky. What it defines a section will depend on the specific file type. So if you have a class in your code, it's going to essentially jump to the end of that class, as you saw. So if I press double square brackets again, it's going to jump to the end of that class. If I go left square brackets, it's going to go to the top of that class. So this is really useful if you have a file which has a lot of classes in it and you just want to jump between classes or to see what the next class is. But in text file, a section might be defined a little bit differently. Okay, so another command which I want to talk about is jump to a matching delimiter. So if your cursor is on a delimiter, such as a round bracket, a parenthesis, or a square bracket, and you press the percentage sign, Vim is going to jump to the next matching set of that delimiter. For example here, my cursor is going to be on the left square bracket. If I press the percentage sign, it's going to jump to the right percentage, right round bracket. If I do that, okay, another command which I'm going to show you is the match delimiter command. So what this is going to do is that it's going to jump to a matching set of delimiter. So a delimiter is a round bracket or a parenthesis or a square bracket. And when you press the percentage sign, Vim is going to jump to the next matching set of that delimiter. For example, my cursor is currently at the left side of the round brackets of this. Now it's going to jump to the right side. So as you can see, it's jumped to the right side. If I press percent again, it's going to jump to the other side. Now this also works with parentheses as well. So I've jumped to line number 9, and if I want to jump to the next set of matching parentheses given line number 9, I can press percent sign, it's going to jump to the next set of parentheses, which is going to be the end of this main method for this function. Now I want to go into a little bit of jumps in relation to searches. So if I want to search for a word which is under the cursor, I can press the star symbol. For example, if I jump to line number 10, go to the word name and press star, it's going to jump to the next instance of the word name, which is going to be on line 17, as you see. And if I want to repeat that jump again, or repeat that jump search, I can press N, and it's going to go to the next instance of that word name. As you can see, the next instance is going to be line 129. If I'm going back to the opposite direction, going to that last search, I can press Shift N, and it's going to go back where I came from. So that's another jump. So star is to search forward. Now let's say that if you want to begin and search backwards, I can press the hashtag symbol. So if I press hashtag, it's going to search going backwards. As you can see, it jumped from line 17 to line number 10. Now if I press N, it's going to go backwards again. Now if I want to go forwards, which is just normal direction, I can press Shift N, and it's going to go back where I came from. So that's jumps. In the world of Vim, there are many more jumps which you can get used to. In due time, I'll make a little bit more of an advanced jump video, but for now, this will be good for you, getting you started with the basics. Now, I want to talk about the jump list. So what Vim actually does is that it keeps a chain of all the jumps which you've made in the program. And why would Vim do this? Well, a really useful thing is that you can actually circulate through those jumps. You can go back to the last jump you made or the last edit which you made, but that's going to be a little bit more in the next part of the video. So how do we cycle through the jump list and see what jumps we can use? So a simple way to do this is using the Control O and the Control I command. So Control O means go to the last jump you made. So go back in the jump list, and then Control I means go forward in the jump list. For example, the last jump we made was searching in reverse. So it's going to jump to from all that function back again. So if I press Control O, it's going to jump to the word name. Now I want to go back to where I jumped from. I can press Control I, which is that word name. As you can see, these two commands are actually very, very powerful and very useful. You know, you can be jumping around a file, going to the top, going to the end, going in the middle, and you can just go back to those places which you have jumped. So for example, if you are jumping around your file and you see something interesting, you don't have to think on where it is. You can just go back in your jump list until you get to that specific location. Okay, so let's say if you want to print out the jump list and see with the jumps which you've made in previous files and in the current Vim sessions, you can type in jumps, and that's going to just pull up a list of all the jumps which you have made. So another way to get into this list is you can just type in JU instead of the full word jumps, and that's just going to show you your whole entire jump list. And to exit out of this as well, I forgot to mention, is that you will press Q to exit out of. Okay, and now let's say that you don't want to keep a list of your jumps and you just want to just clear all your jumps all at once. You can type in CEAR jumps, and that's going to clear all your jumps. Or what you could do is just type in CLE for short. And if I type in jumps, your list is going to be empty. And now if I make a jump, for example, to the bottom of the file or the top of the file and type in jumps, you see that that jump is going to be now in a jump list. Okay, so another thing which I want to show you about the jump list. So let's make a couple more jumps. So let's go to the bottom, let's jump to the middle and the top, and then just type in JU for jumps. You can notice that there's a little arrow in the bottom, and that's going to show you where you are in that specific jump list. But if I press Control O, notice what's going to happen to that jump list. So press JU, that arrow is going to change places from a blank line to jump 0. Now let's go back on our jump list again. Press Control again, type in jump. You see that the arrow has moved now. Let's do it again to the Prince Arrays Fib, JU, and you see that 0, that arrow has moved again. So this is what the jump list is used for. So it kind of gives you a visual representation on where you are in your current jump list, hence called a jump list. And as you can notice on the left, it gives you how many jumps you have left to go to that specific part of your code. And that's how you use the jump list, what are jumps, and how to manage your jumps. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video in changes and the change list.